Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Ankerstar Wealth Morning Show. Last work day, if you will, for most of us for August coming to a close. Yeah, I don't miss the hottest month here in Texas. 100-degree heat all the time. So anyhow, get that behind us. And, for the month, overall, market's still kind of chugging along. We shall see whether, volatility is the way forward going into the elections, or if the Fed rate cuts now make it to where the market can just continue to power higher. We shall see. But what we're going to talk about today is one of those main indicators that the Fed uses to determine what they're going to do with interest rates, and that's the PCE. So Mike's going to talk about the PCE, what it is, how it kind of affects the whole thought on interest rates this morning. And then he's also going to talk about Best Buy. You've heard us talk about Target in the past, heard us talk about Walmart. Again, our eye is on the consumer, right? Because ultimately it's the consumer when they stop spending that puts us into a recession. So he'll put an eye on that. And of course, he'll tie it into his favorite topic, NVIDIA. I don't know how he's going to make that connection, but I will let him surprise you with that. And then I'm going to close with, a company that's faced some struggles, certainly recently, if you followed their stock price, and that's Intel. And the stock's taken a huge hit. I looked at it long and hard to see whether it had sold off too much, and ultimately decided that no, we don't need to move into the name. That was my own personal opinion. But yeah, it's down. But yesterday came out kind of a good news story, and it popped 5% on that. On that, they're looking at some strategic options. So at least they're open to how to unlock value, right? So those are the topics we're going to get into today. This is a financial education presentation, so you have to do your own due diligence before you act upon anything you hear in this presentation. More disclaimer information is available at AnkerstarWealth.com, and the opinions expressed are Mike and mine alone. So Mike, over to you. Tell us about the PCE this morning.
All right. Yeah, so PCE deals with inflation, which is everybody's favorite topic over the last 3-4 years. Inflation at one point up 9% a few years back. Fed trying to get that under control. Today's indicator came out, and this is what we're using, or the Fed uses, to determine if inflation's under control. It went up 0.2% on the month from last month, which is exactly what they expected. Inflation's up 2.5% from last year, same period, which is exactly what they expected. So good news. That's good news for the consumer, in that inflation is going down, or is at least acting as expected. I wish I could tell you the prices were going to go down, but they're not. It just means they're going up more slowly. But all of this is, fuel to the fire. The Fed will cut interest rates next month, which is almost here. So, how did the market react? I'm not going to spend much more time, because really it's like no news is good news. And that's what we have here. We hit our goals exactly. Market is up as far as the Dow, S&P, and the NASDAQ's up 0.8%. So, good news. And it says even closes out for the 4th straight winning month. So we love that. We love green on Fridays. That should be our theme. So won't spend much time on that. I want to get into Best Buy. And Best Buy is one of those stores that I remember 10 years ago, I probably went to Best Buy like once a week. Like I loved going to Best Buy. I'd walk around, see things, checking out PCs, checking out, DVDs, CDs, those things you had before Spotify and things like that. I used to use Best Buy to check all that stuff out. I hardly go into Best Buy anymore. Every once in a while, I go over to Costco, and there's a Best Buy right there, and I'll walk in and look around, and I can't say I bought anything. But how'd Best Buy do? Here's the good news. They're continuing to make money, and they actually did better than they expected. I used to always think of Best Buy as the Windows store for Amazon. Like if I want to pick up and look at something and then buy it on Amazon, that's kind of what you did. But the good news is Best Buy is staying alive. Unlike bookstores, who you used to think the same thing about, and Amazon took them over. So as far as Best Buy's earnings, they came out with $1.34 versus $1.16. That's a big beat. 9.29 billion versus 9.24. And here, let's take a look at the stock, because that's the more fun part. Let's just look at the last 5 days. Let's look at a month, so we can see the surge up. And if we look it back, we'll roll it back to 5 years. pretty flat for 5 years, which may be all right. At least it's coming back up to flat. And if we look at the all-time graph, you can see, Best Buy, it's actually kind of nearing all-time highs. It's getting there. So anyways, Best Buy. But one thing I wanted to kind of talk to people, because people listen and might go, well, Best Buy, NVIDIA, they're both tech, what does that really mean? Best Buy made $9.29 billion, and on that 9.29 in revenue, they made $291 million. That's how much money they made. I couldn't help, but I had to pull up NVIDIA to give you a comparison. NVIDIA brought in $30 billion of revenue, which is 3 times as much. And on that, their net income was $16.6 billion. So think about that.
Over half, yeah.
Yeah, over half of theirs was, profit to the shareholders. And that is why NVIDIA, and is reflected in their, you can't look at share price, you got to look at market capitalization. You don't want to compare NVIDIA to Best Buy and say their share prices are about the same. They are, but the market capitalization, that's why NVIDIA is is right around second, third most valuable company in the world. And Best Buy, who knows, they're ranked in the thousands. So they're not really the same. NVIDIA clearly is selling more to businesses, although they have the graphics cards on PC. And in one other part of NVIDIA that I couldn't help, I don't even know who the CEO of Best Buy is. Maybe he's already friended me on LinkedIn, where Jensen has not.
He's waiting for you to accept it, probably.
Probably. I'm like, I'll get to you later. But what other exciting thing on NVIDIA? I saw this article, just have to mention it. Apple and NVIDIA reportedly in talks to invest in OpenAI before they IPO. So, partnering with ChatGPT and OpenAI, probably a good thing to do. So I just wanted to compare Best Buy, NVIDIA. Steve's going to get into Intel, which made me look at my laptop sitting here, and I was like, yeah, there used to be those Intel inside, and on my laptop there's 2 stickers. There's Intel Core i7, and then there's GeForce RTX from NVIDIA. Now I'm going to scratch off the Intel one because I don't need that sticker on there. I'm all NVIDIA. No, I'm just kidding. But anyways, if you remember, Intel always, it was that Intel inside, like you had to have that sticker on there. That meant you had a good laptop. Sorry AMD, but now it's all NVIDIA. So with that, I will turn it over to Steve as he brings Intel's dreams back to life, or at least wakes them up.
There you go. Go back to Best Buy for a second, to that chart, if you will, that you had of their 1 year or whatever it was.
Oh, sorry,
so when I talk about Intel, I want to talk about leadership, right? And leadership really is everything. And I continue to grow in my own little microcosm of leading our fairly small team here. But based on all past experiences of leadership through the military and stuff. But so when you look at companies, there's the company you want, and then there's the company you got, right? So, or in the poker analogy, is you don't play the cards you wish you had, you play the cards that you have. And the Intel story parlays kind of right to the Best Buy situation, and the fact that things change, right? And Intel was at the top, and when you're at the top of the mountain, you should be like, how do we stay here? Because nobody stays here, right? And when we talk to our kids, it's like, hey, get as good as you can, but don't be arrogant, right? Because somebody is right behind you and going to take your spot that fast if you slow down your work ethic, right? Well, Intel had the situation where they were up top, right? The Intel inside, is everything, and then things started to change. So why did I ask Mike to bring up the Best Buy chart? Is because, Mike, you said exactly what everybody else was saying. Of this was how to window shop for Amazon. So do you remember what they did, Best Buy? Would you remember the change they made once everybody started doing that?
I think they went in more to support, right? Trying to answer questions.
Nope, they do pride themselves on that, and they marketed to that. I do remember that, but they also price matched.
Yeah.
So, it is the, you know, you can imagine whoever the leadership at Best Buy was at the time, if it's the same or not. I mean, it's probably been a long time, so it's probably turned over. But anyhow, yeah, the board meeting, you know, the card you wish you had was you wish you had this electronic store and you had these nice high margins. But if people are just window shopping there and buying it online, you pivot. You make a leadership change of, oh, I don't like it, but we're just going to have to price match and give up some of our margin. And then when the customer, when we have this feeling that they are going to leave the store and buy it from Amazon, it's like, hey, don't forget we price match here, so you can have it today, or you can wait, you know, 2 hours or whatever, you know, Amazon delivers anymore, or you can wait a day or two, right? Excuse me. But that was a leadership change. Okay, you can bring that down. I'm going to share up Intel and talk about kind of where they were with their own situation. So things have not been going well. Let's look at the chart first. Is that sharing out? Do you see the Intel chart, Mike?
I do not. Do you want me to share it out?
I'm starting to think that might not be the case. So round two attempt there. I think you should have it.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Intel, you know, up 7%, right? So they were, you know, if you back out their 1 year, or, you know, you can see that things have kind of been selling off all the way from, you know, what, $50 down to into the 20s. Is, yeah, it took a header, right? And things need to change, whether you want them to change or not. And Intel's been selling off so hard that, you know, they kind of, you know, you're kind of like waiting for something from the CEO. And the CEO did come out at the last earnings call and said, I think he said it's going to take years to turn this around and get to reinvent to where they want. And it's like, boom, nobody wants to hear that, right? So there goes the stock price. I mean, there's other ways to say the same thing of, hey, we're taking a hard look at ourselves. We're reassessing all of our processes and our divisions, and we're making sure that we're going to optimize now and blah, 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 blah. They did lay off 15,000 people, or they're in the process thereof. So a lot of things are going on. But here's what got everybody. So I guess before I show you the next article is when we looked at this and we discussed this in the office, it's just like there's too much value here, right? This is sold off too hard when it took that August, you know, early August, you know, from 30 down to 20, you know, it's a 33% drop. It's like there's value here. We know there's value, but it's what's the, you know, just because something cheap doesn't mean it's a buy. It needs a catalyst to go higher. Well, finally, the catalyst is here. And in this case, they're actually working with bankers to look at strategic options. So this to me is the final, you know, or it's the not final, but the first step at least in maturing as a leader. When you go, things are not going as I would hoped. But I'm not going to deny that, and I'm not going to try to fix it all myself. I'm going to bring in other people to assess some options on how we can unlock value in our stock. So that's what they've done. I won't go into the details of the different options that are out there, but in general, they're looking at, you know, breaking up and possibly selling off some of the divisions. You know, with every company, right? There's some, you know, high revenue, high margin divisions, and then there's your, you know, your house of pain divisions, right? And sometimes you need both, right, to get to where you want to go, but sometimes you don't. So, you know, with ESPN and with Disney, you know, that ESPN has cost them so much money over the years because we insist on broadcasting all those sports, whether people were going to watch them or not, right? So it costs a lot of money to do that. Anyhow, Intel's taking a hard look at themselves. They're getting some feedback from, you know, professional business people. So, you know, when you're a leader of organization that, you know, your specialty is your mission, and that tends to be what you know. But as far as unlocking value and, you know, all this kind of private equity stuff, some people say these people are just sharks. Well, they're good at what they do, and what they do is they take a business, which is a product or service, and unlock the value. They make it more profitable. They make it better, more efficient for everybody. So anyhow, that's what they're taking a look at. We're seeing a pop in their stock today. You'd have to zoom in. Let's go 5-day to give them some actual good news. There you go. That looks like a is this a screaming buy? I'm not going to say that. I haven't really taken a look or pitched it to our team. But yeah, certainly we want to take a look at the Intel reinvention and see if it's got legs to go back higher. So, all right, that's what I've got for today. Mike, any piggybacks or thoughts on that before we let everybody go for the weekend?
No, I just think Intel, you know, you got a brand that people know, and that's worth something, and you got to convert that into dollars, you know, so
yeah.
It's a brand name.
Yeah, you're right. And there's the dinosaurs of tech, right? So you got IBM and Intel out there. Microsoft started going down that road and then kind of reinvented. right?
Yep.
So, I mean, hey, it's all about leadership and how fast you can pivot to the current conditions. And the current condition for you all is that we hopefully have a green market today, and then you pivot right onto that nice long weekend. Again, nice long weekends can be somewhat dangerous, so stay safe out there, and we will see you back on Tuesday. You have a good one. Bye.